The fall of Vega Prime. The burning sky. Captain Elias Voss tasted blood in his mouth as the Vigilance's bridge shuddered. The view screen showed Vega Prime's orbital defenses exploding in silent bursts of light, like fireflies crushed under a boot. The Krull warships, sleek, jagged things resembling serrated knives, moved with chilling precision. Report. Elias barked, gripping his command chair. Lieutenant Mira Kell, her face streaked with soot, didn't look up from her console. Platforms Alpha through Gamma are gone. The Sentinels gone dark. Krull troop carriers are entering the atmosphere. Her voice cracked. They're glassing the cities, sir. Elias's stomach twisted. Vega Prime was a farming colony, barely armed, barely a threat. Why? A message in the dark. The Vigilance was the last human ship in the system. A frigate, outdated even by Earth standards. Elias had protested the lack of defenses for years. Now, his crew's lives were the price. Open a channel to Earth, he ordered. Comms officer Rook Tam slammed his fist on the panel. Jammed, Captain. Krull are flooding every frequency with their damned war chants. Elias exhaled. Then we do it the old way. Prep the courier drone, tight beam burst, aimed at the relay near Proxima Centauri. Myra's hands flew over the controls. Drone loaded. But even if it gets through, Earth can't help us in time. Elias met her eyes. This isn't about us. The last stand. The Vigilance's alarms screamed as a Krull battleship locked onto them. Elias didn't flinch. Helm, evasive pattern Delta. Rook, fire the drone now. The tiny probe shot away, a spark in the dark. A second later, a Krull plasma beam sheared through the Vigilance's engines. The lights died. Gravity failed. Elias floated in the sudden silence, watching Vega Prime burn below. Mira grabbed his arm, her voice raw. They're boarding us. Elias activated his sidearm. Then we make it costly. The broadcast. The courier drone streaked through the void, its encrypted payload screaming into the dark. This is Captain Elias Voss of the UEF Vigilance. Vega Prime is lost. The Krull Empire has violated the Galactic Accords. They're exterminating us. Earth, if you're listening, don't come for vengeance. Come to show the galaxy what happens when you push humanity into a corner. The drone's signal reached the relay just as the Krull obliterated it. But the message had already escaped. Earth's secret gambit. The silent war room. Admiral Kiera Halley stood in the dim glow of the Strategic Command bunker beneath Geneva, her reflection fractured across a dozen holographic displays. The message from Vega Prime played for the third time, Captain Voss's final words echoing like a funeral drum. Don't come for vengeance. Come to show the galaxy what happens when you push humanity into a corner. Around the table, the Earth Defense Council sat in stunned silence. General Oren Vex, his cybernetic eye flickering with tactical data, broke it. The Krull just declared war. The question is, do we die begging the Galactic Council for justice, or do we act? Kira tapped a key. The hologram shifted, revealing a star map. A single red line connected Sol to Vega. We act. Project Dawnbreaker. The bunker's far wall slid open. Behind it lay a chamber the Council had never seen, a vault of black steel and flickering terminals. Inside, a three-dimensional schematic of a warship rotated slowly. This, Kira said, is the Dawnbreaker. The first of 12. Gasps rippled through the room. The ship was unlike anything in Earth's official fleet, sleek, angular, its hull lined with experimental pulse cannons. You built this illegally, hissed Ambassador Lee, her face pale. Kira smirked. The Galactic Council banned humanity from building warships. They never said anything about AI-controlled drones. The Ghost Fleet. The truth unfolded like a blade. For a decade, Earth's brightest, exiled scientists, blacklisted engineers, even former pirates, had worked in hidden shipyards beyond Pluto. Their orders: prepare for the war everyone knew was coming. Dr. Leora Cade, a disgraced Xenotech specialist, stepped forward. Her augments glowed under the dim light. The Krall rely on quantum-linked comms for fleet coordination. I've built a virus to exploit it. She tossed a data chip onto the table. One shot. Their entire network goes blind. General Vex picked it up. And if we lose? Kira's voice was ice. Then we make sure the galaxy remembers how hard humans bite before they die. The Council's choice. The vote was unanimous. As alarms blared across Earth's defense networks, Kira opened a secure channel to the hidden fleet. All Dawnbreaker units, this is Halley's. Vega Prime burns. The Krall think we're caged animals. She paused. Prove them right. Across the solar system, in the dark between asteroids and dead stations, engines flared to life. The first move. 3 hours later, a Krall scout drone patrolling the edge of Sol detected an anomaly, a distortion in space, too large to be natural. Before it could report, a railgun round from the Dawnbreaker's sister ship, Event Horizon, vaporized it. The shot was a declaration. The war had begun. The Ghost Fleet rises. The Silent Hunters. The Dawnbreaker slid through the void like a shadow, its blackened hull absorbing sensor scans. On the bridge, Admiral Kira Halley's watched the tactical display. A single Krall patrol ship drifted lazily near the ruins of Vega Prime, oblivious to the death approaching. All ships, combat stations, Kira ordered, her voice calm. Dr. Cade, is your virus ready? Leora Cade, hunched over a console in the ship's nerve center, didn't look up. Her fingers danced across holographic keys. Almost. Their network is layered, like a nervous system. But every nervous system has a weak point. A flicker of data scrolled across her screen. A smile cut across her face. Got it. The Krall's fatal flaw. The Krall Empire's strength was its unity, every ship, every soldier, linked through a quantum communication web. Instant coordination. Unbreakable discipline. And now, their greatest weakness. Leora's virus slithered into their network, a digital serpent coiling around their systems. Upload complete, she said. Kira nodded. Fire. The Dawnbreaker's railguns roared. The Krall patrol ship shattered before it could scream a warning. First blood. Across the Vega system, Krall ships shuddered as the virus activated. On the bridge of the Dominion's Wrath, the Krall fleet admiral snarled as his screens flickered. Report. Systems failing, communications down. The human ships, they're everywhere. Because they weren't just fighting one fleet. They were fighting ghosts. The traitors whisper. Back on Earth, in the dim glow of an unregistered data hub, a figure typed a coded message. Dawnbreaker fleet location confirmed. Vega system. Strike now. The message vanished into the void, straight to Krall command. The trap springs. Kira's comms officer stiffened. Admiral, long-range scans show multiple Krall signatures inbound. Heavy dreadnoughts. They knew we were here. Leora's head snapped up. That's impossible. Unless. Kira's jaw tightened. We have a leak. The Dawnbreaker's alarms wailed as the Krall Armada tore into real space, weapons charging. Outnumbered. Outgunned. Exactly where Kira wanted them. First blood at Cerberus Rift. The kill zone. The Dawnbreaker shuddered as Krall plasma fire scorched its shields. Admiral Kira Halley's gripped the command console, watching the tactical display light up with enemy signatures. All ships, fall back to the rift, she ordered. The Cerberus Rift, a jagged nebula of ionized gas and unstable gravity, loomed ahead. To the Krall, it looked like desperation. A human fleet, cornered. They were wrong. Jax Riker's last flight. In the Dawnbreaker's hangar, Lieutenant Jax Riker strapped into his interceptor, the Stormcrow. The cockpit sealed around him with a hiss. "Jax, you don't have to do this," Commander Rail Vorsk said over the comm. Jax smirked. "Yeah. I do." The Stormcrow launched, weaving through Krall fire like a blade through smoke. His target? The Dominion's Wrath, the Krall flagship. The weakness exposed. Leora's virus had done its job, most Krall ships were blind, their comms scrambled. But the Dominion's Wrath had isolated itself, purging the infection. It was still vulnerable in one way. Jax's fighter streaked toward the Dreadnought's exposed engine array. Alarms blared in his ears. "Come on, just a little closer." A Krall plasma burst tore through his left wing. The Stormcrow spun, out of control. Jax didn't try to correct it. He armed his warhead. The sacrifice. The Stormcrow slammed into the Dominion's Wrath's engines. For a heartbeat, silence. Then, light. A chain reaction tore through the Krall flagship, its hull splitting like rotten fruit. The shockwave sent nearby ships spiraling. On the Dawnbreaker's bridge, Kira watched the fireball expand. "Now," she said. The trap springs. Hidden within the nebula, Earth's remaining stealth frigates powered up. Their railguns locked onto the disoriented Krall fleet. Fire. A storm of tungsten slugs ripped through the void. Krall ships detonated in sequence, their formations collapsing. The Krall Admiral's final transmission crackled across the battlenet. "This is impossible." "How?" Then static. The traitor revealed. Back on Earth, in a secure bunker, Ambassador Lee closed an encrypted channel. Her hands shook. She hadn't expected the humans to win. The door hissed open. General Vex stood there, his cybernetic eye glowing. "Hello, traitor." The siege of Vega Prime. The ruins of home. Sergeant Ren Vero crouched in the skeletal remains of what was once Vega Prime's central plaza. The air smelled of burning metal and charred flesh. Above him, the sky bled orange through the smoke of orbital bombardment. "Movement, 3 o'clock, hissed Corporal Dravik, his rifle snapping up. Ren didn't need the warning. He'd already seen the shadows shifting between the rubble, hulking, four-armed figures clad in Krall warplate. "Hold fire," Ren whispered. "Wait for my mark." The Kralls knew horror. The Krall weren't just occupying Vega Prime. They were changing it. Biological monstrosities pulsed in the ruins, living siege towers of fused flesh and metal, their surfaces writhing with half-formed Krall warriors. Nia Sol, a civilian tech scavenger turned resistance fighter, crouched beside Ren. "They're growing an army," she muttered. "Using our people as raw material." Ren's grip tightened on his rifle. "Then we burn it all." The trap within the trap. Nia had spent days studying captured Krall biotech. Now, she grinned, holding up a jury-rigged device. "Their network links through organic nodes. This'll make them bleed." Ren didn't ask for details. He just nodded. "Do it." Nia slammed the device into the ground. A pulse rippled outward, and the nearest Krall bio-tower screamed. The tide turns. The Krall warriors staggered as their neural links short-circuited. Ren's squad opened fire, cutting them down in a storm of tungsten and plasma. Above, the sky split open. The Dawnbreaker descended like a vengeful god, its railguns carving a path through the Krall lines. Admiral Halley's voice crackled over Ren's comm, "Sergeant, we're reclaiming this rock. Get your people clear." The Krall's last gambit. Deep beneath Vega Prime's ruins, something awoke. A final message reached the Dawnbreaker's bridge, a single, panicked transmission from a scout team. "They've got a, oh god, it's alive." Then static. The Krall's secret. The Emperor's fear. Deep within the obsidian halls of the Krall throne world, Emperor Vrax the Undying watched the holographic feed of Vega Prime siege. His four-clawed hands flexed in agitation. They were supposed to break. His High Archon, Zek, bowed low. The humans, they adapt too quickly. Their scientists corrupted our networks. Their soldiers fight like demons even when outnumbered. And now? Vrax silenced him with a snarl. I know what they are. A memory surfaced, an ancient Krall prophecy. Beware the soft ones who harden in fire. They will outthink your strategies, outlast your endurance, and remake the galaxy in their image. Vrax had laughed when he first heard it. Now, Vega Prime burned, and the laughter died in his throat. The thing beneath Vega Prime. Ren Vero's boots sank into the pulsing flesh of the underground chamber. The walls breathed around him. Nia Sol adjusted her scanner, her face pale. This isn't just a bioweapon. It's alive. And it's learning. A tremor rocked the cavern. Something massive shifted in the darkness ahead. Then the eyes opened. Dozens of them. The traitor's endgame. On Earth, Ambassador Lee ran. The security drones were closing in, their stun beams scorching the walls around her. She had one last message to send. Her fingers flew over her wrist comm, Dawnbreaker's core reactor coordinates, just as General Vex's shot took her in the back. She fell, smiling. The transmission had already left. Kira's choice. The Dawnbreaker's bridge shuddered under a sudden impact. Admiral, shouted the tactical officer. Something just latched onto our hull. The view screen flickered, revealing a monstrous amalgamation of Krall biotech and human ship plating crawling toward the bridge. Kira's comm buzzed. Ren's voice, strained, Admiral, you need to leave orbit. Now. She looked at the creature on her hull. Then at Vega Prime below. All ships, she said softly. Prepare for final protocol. The last stand at Sol's Edge. The final broadcast. Admiral Kira Halley stood on the Dawnbreaker's bridge as the monstrous bioweapon tore through the hull. Alarms screamed. The deck tilted violently beneath her feet. She opened a galaxy-wide channel. This is Admiral Halley's of Earth's Dawnbreaker fleet. The Krall Empire fears us because we refuse to break. Today, we prove why. Across 1,000 systems, oppressed species heard her words, and stirred. Ren's Gambit. Beneath Vega Prime, Ren Vero and Nia Sol sprinted through the bioweapon's pulsating arteries. The creature's core loomed ahead, a massive, beating heart of fused flesh and machinery. Nia slapped her last explosive charge onto it. This'll take the whole network down. Ren nodded. Go. I'll cover you. As Nia ran, the walls shuddered. The bioweapon had sensed them. The Dawnbreaker's sacrifice. In orbit, Kira gave the order. All power to engines. Ran the Krall command ship. The Dawnbreaker, bleeding fire and debris, turned toward the Krall flagship. Emperor Vrax's face flashed on screen, finally afraid. The collision lit up the sky. The galaxy remembers. When the dust cleared. The Krall fleet was in ruins. Vega Prime's bioweapon lay dead. And from the wreckage of the Dawnbreaker, Kira's final words echoed across the stars. We are humanity. Remember this day. 1 year later, the first liberated species raised Earth's flag beside their own. The war was over. The legend had just begun.